and then a little bit on the south side, so that they would stop coming in on that unopened road allowance. Because they come in there and they just throw the gravel all over the place. And then we have to re-gravel and re-grade the road. But there are like other entrances into the other properties off of West Iguana. So they can go in that way, but they'll be off that unopened road.
We have a report later on in our agenda that deals with recommendations being report back. Councilor Roman?
Well, I was just going to move the recommendation, and then staff, you'll bring back the option for
Bring back the option.
the agreement.
That's report number 60 of the recommendations on page 102 of our agenda. Okay. Moved by Councilor Roman, seconded by Mayor Day. Questions? All in favor of that? Thank you. Carried. Looks ahead of schedule. There'll be a report coming back with appropriate agreement.
Okay, thank you very much.
7:30, we have a delegation. Kyle McIntosh and Patty Turnbull. I'd like to move up to the table there and introduce yourself. We try to keep our delegations, trying to get our delegations kept to 10 minutes. So if you make a presentation, we have the information that was presented earlier. So if you'd like to take us through this, what's your proposal?
Sure. My name is Kyle McIntosh.
My name is Patty Turnbull.
We own some lots off of Sherrard Street. It's a non-travel road allowance. I believe it's shown on all the sketches that you have, and I've also got some aerial photos if you want me to hand those out. And what we're proposing to do with these lots is some microfit solar panel projects. Basically, what we'd like to do is, there's 9 lots there, and we'd like to do 9 microfit solar panel projects under the Ontario Power Authority program. So the reason we're here tonight is, first of all, we just sort of wanted to advise council what we'd like to do with the property. And we would also like to talk to the council because we have to get some type of road access into the property. So that's one item we'd like to talk about. And the other item we'd like to talk about is getting a hydro line access into the property. But before I talk about that, I thought I'd just very quickly take you guys through the project. As I said, there's 9 lots, and we have 9 approval from the Ontario Power Authority for 9 separate projects. Right now, basically, if you look at some of the pictures we sent, it's sort of the tail end of a farm field, of an agricultural field. It's always been plowed before, and there's always been plantings on the field. And at the far north end, on the adjacent property, there's a barn. That being said, though, the property does back onto 3 or 4 residential houses. So we also want to make sure what we do doesn't negatively impact the neighbors, because we want to be friendly with the neighbors and things like that. So what we've sort of done with our plan here, as you can see, is we've pushed everything as far away from the neighbors' properties that we can. And the other thing that we've done is we've dictated that we'll only be using the low-rise solar panel projects, which are approximately 8 feet high, for the 3 lots which are adjacent to the neighboring properties, which is lot 34, lot 26, and lot 27. I have a picture of how that would look in case council would like to see, but it's basically a solar panel rack, which is not a very high system. It's not a high tracker. It's about 6.5 feet high. If you look at the fence here, this fence is about 5.5 feet high, so it sticks up a little bit above the 5.5 foot high fence. But we didn't want to put up a big type of tracker system adjacent to somebody's backyard, because I understand some municipalities have had that happen and neighbors aren't very happy, and I can appreciate that. So what we propose, and I've done this exact same system in 2 or 3 other places, is a low-rise system that isn't very high. It's about 6.5 feet high, adjacent to the neighboring properties. And then we propose it shows with the T on the drawing, some low-rise trackers further away out in the farm field from that. And by low-rise trackers, I'm not referring to what's referred to as a 10 kilowatt tracker, which is a very high tracker. We're proposing instead to have two 5 kilowatt trackers, which are substantially a lot shorter than the 10 kilowatt trackers. And again, the reason we're doing that is we want to be friendly with the neighbors, and we feel by having this project, it's good if the neighbors appreciate what we're doing, because then they sort of look out at the project, and if there's any theft or vandalism, they would notify us. So we think that's important. We don't want to upset anybody. In fact, even here, Patty's even spoke to some of the neighbors.
That's correct. Actually, I was there a few weeks ago during the July long weekend, and I spoke to 3 of the neighbors. If you take a look at your diagram, along here, the folks who actually came along Dumfries Street, if you see the house and garage, if you're looking at Dumfries and you look at the right-hand side, there were 3 neighbors on the right-hand side of Sherrard Street that I spoke to, and they were actually all, one quote was, better solar panels in houses, I suppose, so they're like, we're fine with it, it's not our property, it's not gonna bother us, it's basically all 3 of the neighbors indicated.
And to the left side, or to the south of Sherrard Street, there's a lot of big, heavy, dense hedges, which you can see on the bottom of one of the pictures. And that will basically block, there is one house there, but that house will be completely blocked. They won't even be able to see the solar panels, because I'm guessing these trees and hedges are probably about 15 feet high. And so there won't be any issue from that standpoint. So first of all, we just wanted to present this to council. And the issue is if you look at the very first picture that we sent, that is what we're referring to is the non-traveled Sherrard Street road allowance. But as you see, it's got some gravel on there, but we would sort of like permission to put some more gravel on there, so we can get some, basically get a appropriate access for the site. So that's number one. Is this sort of we don't want to go asphalt or anything like that. I'm sure the neighbors wouldn't want that, but just to sort of clean up the gravel that's already there. And number 2 is alongside the gravel, we would like to run a hydro wire so we can connect these projects into the grid. And that hydro wire can be underground or it can be above ground. We actually prefer to put it underground. But that being said, it isn't a non-travel road allowance, so we would need council's permission to do any work on that, which is what we're here today for.
Okay. So, questions?
Yeah, that was basically it. Any questions? Sure.
Councilor Over?
Well, Kyle, can you go back through the height of these things? Like,
Yes.
I've got this little diagram.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, if you look at lot 34, so you're saying those are these things, the 8 foot?
Well, I think they're actually about 6.5 or 7 feet high, yes.
And then it's the same on lot 26 and lot 27?
That's correct.
And then what's lot 28?
Lot 28 is 2 Ts, and if you look in the legend, T is a 5 kilowatt tracker,
Right.
and they're approximately 23 feet high.
I saw that 20, so like 23 feet.
Yes.
Well, then you were talking about 8 feet somewhere else. Where was?
Oh, well, that's what I meant by this one. It'd be a
Oh,
maximum of
okay.
8 feet. I think it's only 6.5, but I'm up to a maximum.
Okay, so all these others then are the 23 foot?
That's correct.
Like lot 35, 36, 37, 38, and 28?
That's correct. We definitely wanted to do lot 34, have the low-rise ones to give a bit of a buffer. We're proposing also a 6-foot-high wood fence between lot 34 and the adjacent house, which we put up on lot 34. And basically what that would do is it would screen this one, because as you see, this one's about the height of a wood fence. But the other ones are what I'm referring to as a smaller tracker. They're not as big as a lot of the ones you see out in the country. Those are 10 kilowatt trackers, and they can go up to 35 or 40 feet high. Now, these ones are the smaller version, the 23-foot-high trackers.
Okay, Councilor Over?
Yes, and you received all your approvals
Yes.
for all this?
Yes, we
Can I
have.
ask the question? I mean, we can't do anything.
I'm gonna ask you.
I mean, what can we do?
Yes.
There's nothing we can do.